throw, airs it out, deep, near sideline, Morgan, up with two hands. Touchdown! Rodriguez Morgan! Hauled it in, reached for the pylon, and they say he's in. Keys with the carry right side, gaping, hole 50. He's got a wild running room. 30-yard line, 20, 15. He's gone. Touchdown as he beats two jackrabbits for a huge score. Davis, Smith again, near side, open hole to the 35. Fumble the ball, loose on the field, and Indiana State's got it. First down at 10 for the Sycamores. McCoy carry near right side, open hole 30. He's to the 20. He's got one man to beat to the 10. Lowers his shoulder down to the 5. Inside the 5-yard line. Near out of bounds at the near right side. Gets up, flexes his muscles. It's Boyle near side. Beats his man to the 10. He's to the 5. Touchdown! 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 Indiana State. Ryan Boyle into the end zone. Redbirds have won 11 of the last 13. Knee-high snap, Davis to throw again, slings, far sideline, intercepted! All he's got to do is fall down! Jamal Jones, the senior! And Indiana State can ice this one! High snap over the head of Mays, trying to fall on it and just pick it up. It's still loose, and Indiana State can scoop and score it to the 30, to the 40. It's Jonas Griffith for Indiana State, and he's going all the way, Fritzy! Touchdown! Touchdown! One exclamation point in Youngstown, Ohio. It's tied. 5-step drop, rolls near side. Cottrell Moss pressures him. They throw it down the field. Denzel Bonner bats it down. It's over. It's over. Indiana State has done it. Indiana State wins in Carbondale. And for the first time in 14 tries, Indiana State wins a Missouri Valley Football Conference ball game.
This is Curt Mallory, and you're listening to Indiana State football on WIBQ 97.9 FM.
Welcome to the Sycamore Football Coaches Show, brought to you by 7th and Elm at the corner of food and fun. I don't know about all of you, but I hope that gets you excited a little bit for football season here just rather shortly. But the football spring game is this Saturday, which is why we are here. I'm Luke Martin, the voice of the Sycamores, alongside head coach Curt Mallory. Coach, I'm sure for you, your staff who's here as well, you can really start to feel the excitement that's starting to brew and really come to fruition here in Terre Haute for Sycamore football.
Yeah, absolutely. We're excited about this coming year. We're right to the near end of spring ball, and we've had a great spring practice. But I want to give a special shout-out to Tom and Mary Hellman and hosting today at 7th and Elm.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Of course, Coach Greg Lanton, who's in the back, he's used to the spotlight here at 7th and Elm. It's good to have Coach Mallory here and talk about the football squad here this evening. You mentioned there's been so much positive momentum coming off winning 5 straight games last year. Where do you feel your team over the last couple of months since the season ended have been able to make sure that momentum wouldn't die, that you've been able to continue that momentum throughout your spring practices and ultimately when you hit the field on Saturday for the spring game?
Well, I think right after the season, of course we had a disappointing. We didn't make the playoffs, but it was time to move on. And that was the approach that our team made. And when season got over, we got back to work. And that's exactly what they've done. And taken upon ourselves that that's not going to happen again next year, and that we take it upon ourselves. And they've done a great job. We've had a great off season. Coach McManus has done a tremendous job getting these guys ready in the off season, and our coaches have done a great job coaching them throughout spring and throughout the year.
I think it's a very easy talking point to talk about the disappointment and not getting into the playoffs a year ago. It's about every radio show I hop on. That's normally the first question people ask, but I don't know if you guys as a staff really talked about it, but I've been in a lot of your team meetings so far this spring. That's never been brought up. Is that by really design for you guys as a staff to say, look, we're happy with what we did at the end of last year, won 5 in a row, felt like we should have been in there, but you know what? It's time to move on. We got to focus on 2019 and from this point on control what we can control.
Well, I think the approach was we're going to pick up where we left off and, win in the last 5, and that we continue to do that. And, we did it with things that take no talent, and that's what got us there. Guys come to work every day, do a tremendous job in the classroom. Our team GPA is above a 3-point. and it carries over from off the field to on the field. And but that's what got us there, and that's going to continue to go that direction.
You know, you look around the room, it's hard to believe that I've seen you, Mark Smith, Kevin Abrams, all the guys that are here now. This is your third year coming on here at Indiana State. How fast has this time really gone by for you, that knowing you're year 3 now, where it seems just like yesterday it was year 1 when I first met you when you came here and you were introduced in January 3 years ago?
It has gone by quick. 3 years goes by fast. But, these seniors have put in a tremendous amount of work, and really excited about the senior class we got coming. This year have done a great job in the off season. The offensive line is all 5 seniors, and that's where it's going to start, up front with our offensive line with Mason Fleckler. You got Isaiah Edwards, Wyatt Wozniak, James Lang, Kevin Kachowski, all seniors. But put a lot of work into this football program.
Of course, we'll talk about the on-field football product as we continue with the spring game this weekend, but you also knew when you took this job, yes, starting to build this program back on the field was important, but also there were some things off the field that needed to be done. In terms of the culture building at Indiana State and the culture building of your football program, where do you feel you're at right now with your staff in year 3?
Well, I think it started when you talk about 2 years ago. We went 0-11, but never felt like we were an 0-11 team. The approach the team had, they came to work every day. And we knew we'd keep that core group together, which we have. Our coaches have done a great job. These seniors have done a great job sticking together. And we'd build around them. And there'd be a day where we'd get it flipped. And we were able to do it in a year after that. And a lot of the credit goes to those guys because they've stuck to it, and they never wavered. Got a great senior class. We're really excited to get started.
It's funny. Yeah, I shouldn't say it's funny, but your first year here, the spring game was kind of the spring game and the spring game alone. Now in year 3, it's really transformed. There's so much more than just the spring game that's going on Saturday. You got the buddy walk in the morning, which I know is a great partnership that you and the program have been able to build over the last year being it for the first time. Just for you, what's the transformation been like to know that, yes, you enjoy that Saturday. Of course, the attention's going to be on your guys and the improvement they made throughout spring and see what kind of team you have ultimately on the field. But it's much more than that. There's a lot more that goes into the day.
Oh, there is. Craig Smith, who's handles our operations, has worked hard to get a lot of things getting set up for that day. We're joining up. Of course, you mentioned the Buddy Walk. We're partnered with the Down Syndrome of Indiana to raise awareness for Down syndrome. There's going to be a lot of things going on. There's kid zones. We're going to have exhibits, live music, and that all starts around 10 a.m. And then the actually Buddy Walk will start at 11 a.m. And we have 700 participants, and they've already raised over $27,000 for this event. The tailgate, it's awfully impressive. We've done a great job. The tailgate will start at 11:30. Again, we'll have food trucks, the kids zone. We've got a lot of our other sports there as well. I know Coach Lansing's here tonight supporting us as he always does. But his team will be out there along with Vicky Hall and the women's basketball team. Our team obviously will be out there, the volleyball team and the soccer team. So, and then the other thing, obviously, we're gonna need everyone next year, and having the crowd there and the fans. We're gonna have season tickets for sale for $20.19. So that's a great deal. We got 7 home games next year. And we'll kick it off. We'll be kicking it off at 1 o'clock on Saturday for the spring game.
We've heard so much excitement, and that's right. It's time for the fans as well. There's every reason to be able to buy tickets. You mentioned that season ticket package again for the fans that don't know about it. $20.19 for a single season ticket all year long. That package is only good if you come to Memorial Stadium in person on Saturday. That's the biggest thing for that. So come out to the spring game number 1 to support your crew, but also a really great discount to be able to come out and see your guys through the year. And I know you play a big part in the scheduling process as well. 7 home games. It's the most in school history. That's not by accident. That's a very important thing for you guys to be able to get those schedules in, because scheduling is one of those things. It's very hard to do. It's years in advance. You're already putting – I know John Sherman has a lot of headaches throughout the night when he thinks about putting a schedule through 2027. But the good news is you get to reap the benefit, and you're going to be at home for 7 times this fall.
No question. And I think, not only having 7 home games, out of 12, but the first 7 games, 5 of them are at home. And so you're talking 5 games before November. And so the weather's going to be great. We're excited about that. And, we kick off our openers at Kansas, and so that'll be exciting. Go to Lawrence, play a Big 12 opponent, and then get back home for a while.
And not only are you going to be home and you have those 7 home games, and 5, like you mentioned, are really in the early portion of the schedule. Some good natural rivals. Of course, Eastern Illinois is going to be one of those home games, but a team that the Sycamores were able to beat in the playoffs in 2014, Eastern Kentucky is going to be a really good OVC team that's coming in.
Absolutely. Obviously Eastern Illinois, is a big rivalry. We're only 40 minutes apart. We'll have them here in Memorial Stadium. We play Dayton as well, and then like you mentioned, Eastern Kentucky, who's traditionally a very good football program as well. So, we play Kansas, and then we'll have 3 straight weeks of home games.
Coach, you're not going away, but you're going away at least for the next couple of segments. We have Ryan Boyle, who's in the house tonight. Jonas Griffith is in the house tonight as well. We're going to spend the next couple segments with them, but don't go too far. We'll talk with you later on the show.
Okay, thanks, Luke.
Once again, that was head coach Curt Mallory. We're going to take a break. This is the Football Coaches Show here at 7th and L with head coach Curt Mallory. We'll be joined by senior linebacker Jonas Griffith when we come back. You're listening to Indiana State Football here on GoSycamores.com and WIBQ. Welcome back, everybody, to 7th and L for the Coaches Show here. Curt Mallory as Indiana State football getting ready for the spring game this weekend. Should be a lot of fun at Memorial Stadium. Kickoff will be at 1 o'clock. You got to be able to come out. You won't see the guy I'm about to talk to in action right now. He's kind of, I don't know if vacation's the right way probably to describe this time for you right now, Jonas Griffith. But, Jonas, appreciate the time for you hopping on and joining us here.
Of course, Luke Martin, it's always a pleasure to come talk to you.
Jonas, how fast has your time here at Indiana State really gone? When you think about it, when you first came in as a tiny, scrawny freshman, to now be and going into your senior year, to have the type of work ethic that you've had, to have the type of season that you hope to have this year?
Well, it's flown by, and just, coming in my senior class, not a lot of us here, but, stuck together and just flown by really fast and, hopefully go out with a bang with the seniors and with the team.
When you think about being able to go out with a bang, obviously you guys have put in a lot of preparation for this season. For you, how would you describe the off season that you and the guys have had to this point?
Well, we've all grinded our tails off, and, it's paying off in spring ball. Guys have gotten a lot stronger, a lot faster, and Coach Manis has done a good job with the team as a whole and just, position specific as well.
I know one of the things for you want to be out there right now. You want to be playing. You want to be going through the drills. You want to be going through all the practices. But what has this spring brought to you, knowing that you've kind of been more in a leadership role and you kind of been more in a coaching role throughout this spring?
I always tell Coach Abrams that I'm his assistant and, I need to pay his salary. But, just coaching up the young guys as well and, just being a leader vocally and not as much physically right now, but, getting mental reps and also seeing what Coach Wilson has to say.
Coach Wilson now being your position coach. Of course, he's been the defensive coordinator at Indiana State since your time here. The transition with him and what it's like now to have your defensive coordinator within your meeting room, too, throughout the week and how that helps.
With Coach Wilson, it's definitely more intense meeting room, but, he makes sure his guys are perfect or try to be perfect, strive to be perfect in everything that they do. It includes note-taking, practice, being out there early, and just stuff like that.
Where do you feel you want to grow the most this season? I know a lot of people will point to your accolades and 3-time All-American last year during your junior season. But where does Jonas Griffith, when he watches the film, when he sits down and meets with Brad Wilson, the defensive coordinator, you go, this is where I want to see myself continue to improve, and this is where I want to see myself grow in 2019?
Well, just leading the young guys along and becoming more of a leader, not just vocally, but also just, lead by example and just doing the right thing, even when nobody's looking.
How's that been for you in terms of trying to lead by example, to go through it? Because you've been one of those guys that really, I think, has kind of done that since day one.
Well, just continue to be myself and just not follow other leadership examples, just be myself and just, get the young guys to follow.
One of the areas I really enjoy being around you guys is getting the chance to get to know you and getting a chance to get to know your teammates. I know you and Anoke are really close. Noke's on the defensive side. What do you enjoy most just about being around this team, in being around your specific teammates?
I mean, I'm a big family guy, and I have a lot of siblings, and it just feels like a family away from home. And just, the guys always come in together and have a good time and just have fun with each other and also work hard together as well.
I know you have a really close relationship, as I mentioned, with Anoke Moala. The importance of having someone like Noakes to get you through what is a long season, to get you through what's not always the easiest thing sometimes.
I mean, we've been together through it all, like through coaching changes and stuff, and just been roommates for about 3 years. And just that guy's like had my back through it all, and just everything. He means a lot to me.
Is it weird that he just shows up like right after we were just starting to talk about him? I mean, he's not here. Like, there's no proof now that you actually said really good things about him.
I mean, I texted him, told him about 15 minutes to come. He's late as usual.
Late as usual, not a surprise. As the defense, you've been able to watch, you've been able to see different pieces start to form. Where are the areas of the defense do you feel you guys have taken steps this spring in some areas that maybe you've been impressed by that you've been able to watch now and take a little bit of a step back?
I'm just impressed with the depth. Like, the young guys are really coming along well, and I just, look at the defense as a whole and just, we have a lot of depth in every position. And, I mean, there's a lot of question marks possibly going into the season with defense, but I feel like all those question marks are going to be filled.
Coach Mallory always talks about from the offensive side of where it begins up front and brings up the offensive line. For you, there's a level in front of you with that defensive line. Of course, missing Anoke last year really hurt. Having him back ultimately healthy in the fall will be a big addition. Where up front do you think you guys have been able to make strides, knowing you are losing some key pieces, and like a Rex Mosley and Pashan Powell, who were able to contribute a year ago?
I mean, I don't think that's the area to be concerned about. I mean, Coach Smith gets those guys ready every day, and just the interior guys like Michael Gant, he's a senior leader as well. And another guy that's stepping up is Cade Perrott. He's doing a good job as well. Just noticing him in the spring and in the winter, he's gotten a lot bulkier and stronger, and he's becoming a more student of the game.
Cade, of course, his first year was a mule, was a tight end in his first year, being able to make that transition to the defensive line. We've seen a lot of guys move around on the team in terms of making position changes. Michael Thomas is another guy who's been able to move to the safety on the back end. Where have you seen the guys that have been able to make those position switches, specifically to the ones only on defense for you, and you go, wow, this guy's really starting to pick it up and really starting to make improvements early?
I mean, in the secondary, a lot of guys I've noticed, C.J. Rutherford and guys that haven't even played a lot, like Hamid has been stepping up in the spring as well, and just also Michael Thomas has done a good job. Those guys are athletes, they'll be fine on defense as well and make a lot of plays for us.
So even though you won't be able to play in the spring game this weekend, I know last year you really enjoyed the buddy walk, all of you guys being able to go through it and play a part of it. How important is it for you guys? Yes, you're preparing for a spring game. You're talking football. You guys want to make sure that last team workout before you guys ultimately get into the summer, and then you come back for fall camp. You want to be fine-tuning some things. But no, you get some fun. You get out in the community, and you get to meet some really cool people out at Memorial Stadium.
I mean, just, being out in the community and meeting participants of the Buddy Walk and meeting their parents and people that support the football program, as well as having fellow student athletes out there as well. It's big and just showing that we are more than just football players, and we can be out in the community and be productive citizens as well as role models.
With this being the first coaches show, at least with Coach Mallory during his time here, how can you sense just the energy, the pride, really the passion for Sycamore football start to build, and why this season it's not just you guys that are excited about it? I mean, everybody out in the community is talking about Indiana State football.
I mean, just walking around campus with the student body and just realizing that a lot of students realize that we're actually doing something special here at Indiana State, and all credit goes to Coach Mallory and his staff and other people around, for just putting us in the right place and giving us the tools to be successful.
Jonas, good luck. Obviously, the rest of the spring, stay healthy, number one. Enjoy the spring game on Saturday, but always appreciate the time catching up with you, my man.
Definitely, Luke Martin. Have a good one.
That was Jonas Griffith, everybody. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll be joined by senior quarterback Ryan Boyle. You're listening to the Coaches Shows here at 7th and Elm.
Tom Hellman here.
Welcome back to 7th and Elm, corner of food and fun here in Terre Haute for the Indiana State Football Coaches Show with head coach Curt Mallory. We were just joined by senior linebacker Jonas Griffith here on the show. All right, we've given the defense enough love. Let's talk a little offense. We have senior quarterback Ryan Boyle who joins us. Ryan, good to see you. It's always great to catch up with you. I kind of asked you a couple weeks ago. I'll ask you again. What's it been like now to know that you're actually here in the spring, where a year ago at this time, you were kind of just going through your progression of where you wanted to ultimately go and play?
No, exactly. I just, I wasn't being able to play football, and I was working out on my own, and now having the chance to be with the coaches, be with my fellow players, and go through an entire spring ball and, just start at the basics. And the last week of spring is right here, and we're ready to wrap it up, and it's gone really, really well.
I know there's no pressure because your coaches are in front of you as I ask this question to you, but has coming to Indiana State been everything you thought it would be when you first made that decision?
Everything and more. I mean, this institution and organization, head by Coach Mallory and the coaches underneath, they're great. And, I found the love for football again, and it's been a great last season, and then one final ride with these guys, and I just make the most of it.
When you guys knew that you weren't able to get into the postseason, I know you sent out a tweet as well. I know a lot of the guys, of course, were frustrated that ultimately did not get in to the FCS playoffs. But how do you feel you guys as a team have responded to that, and ultimately as you've been working out over these last couple of months and now in spring ball, to really put that behind you and focus on what's upcoming here in 2019?
Yeah, when we heard that we were in the postseason, obviously it really was kind of shell-shocked us, and gave us a chip on our shoulder. But that was, the 2018 season. Now this is a new season right here. And, our winter conditioning was great with Coach McManus and everything he did for us. And then now going into spring ball and what the offensive coaches, defensive coaches, and Coach Mallory has in store for us, it's gone really, really well.
Of course, you coming to Indiana State, I talked to you about your journey here and know kind of how you got here. For those that maybe don't know, what was that connection to Indiana State that ultimately got you to be a Sycamore?
It was actually my high school head coach, Coach Tom Wilson, is best friends with Coach Mallory. And I really leaned on Coach Wilson in my transfer process to see where I wanted to go. And he said, Indiana State's a home for you. And, obviously they had an offense that really tailored to what I can do, and then just meeting Coach Mallory and all the other coaches, I just fell in love right away.
For those that don't know, when you went to Iowa, of course, you were recruited as a quarterback. You spent some time at wide receiver. Mm-hmm. You also went back to quarterback. You played multiple different positions. How have you been able to use your experience, such as being on a Rose Bowl team at Iowa, to play a different position at Iowa, to use all of that to your benefit to now mold you in the time when it really counts, when you're towards the end?
Just every organization is different. I guess what I learned from there, I learned a lot of things that I'll hold dear to my heart, but, it was just a lot of adversity that I had to go through, and, I think it made me the man that I am now, and coming here and being under Coach Mallory, Coach Switz, Coach Hastings, and Coach Young, it's just tailored me even more to what I want to be when I'm older, and it's been really, really great, and I'm just looking forward to this season.
You guys as an offense, and we'll touch up on it with Coach Mallory at the end, there are so many weapons that you guys have outside of yourself, and a lot of that reason is because of up front in the weapons you guys have at that offensive line group. 4 of the 5 are returning. And even guys who maybe didn't get to play a year ago, they're another year stronger. They're another year in the system. Where do you see that offensive line room right now in terms of keeping you upright and healthy and allow you to open up some holes and for you to run as well and be able to pass the ball around?
That offensive line, I know every one of them personally, and just one thing is they're big boys. They're going to lay their life on the line every single time with Coach Switzer. Teaching them every single day on what to do. I know that they're going to coach well and know their job. And, just one thing with this offense is that we have depth and we have experience, and we're young, but we also have older guys, myself included, that, show them the way if they don't know how. But it's a really competitive group every single day. You can just see them, just the fight in their eyes.
And not to say that you guys won't be able to run the football this year, because I think it's going to be the exact opposite of that with the weapons you have, just maybe some unproven guys to an extent there. But it's hard for me to pinpoint anybody at wide receiver just because of, you talked about depth. I don't know outside of the offensive line on offense if there's a more better position in terms of just how many guys you can run out there at a given time.
Oh, exactly. And you can see that during practice. It's like a hockey line shift. If a couple of them are tired and Coach Hastings got them in the right way to where if they go in, they know what their job is and they're going to do it. And that's probably, I'd say, the most, aside from the quarterbacks, that's probably the most competitive group there is. They're, even if they're talking about the way they're getting off the ball, if they run the route correctly, just what they have, and that depth is really great.
Having Coach Switz a year ago, so it's not like everything is brand new, but now with him taking over in the OC role, Has there been much change at all, just in terms of how you guys go through your day-to-day and you guys as an offense when you meet as a team?
Oh, I mean, no ground uncovered. I mean, Coach Switz just got the ball rolling right away, and I mean, it's really great to have him. And intellectually, he's a great coach and everything. And just this, I can't wait to see what this offense is going to do. I mean, just the sky's the limit, and it's going to be a really great year.
Coach Mallory brought it up to me a couple weeks ago when I caught up with him at Memorial Stadium about Coach Young, about Aaron Young being promoted, being able to work with you guys in that quarterback room. Where has he made you better, just in the short time that he's been able to have with you? Of course, he's been on staff as well over the past couple of years, and been around this program. But where do you feel Coach Young has made the biggest impact with you and made the biggest impact in that room?
I'd say my football IQ, no doubt. I mean, when you think of Coach Young, what I think of in the word is just detailed. You know, everything that he does, I mean, the effort that he puts into from day to night, you know, you can see it. And he really, really cares about the game of football, and he cares about us. And that's really showed from the first practice of spring to now this last week, and just reading coverages, whether it's our feet, our eyes, our hips, throwing downhill. I mean, he's really tailored us to where we're doing really well. And, I mean, that's going to fall into summer and then fall camp, and I mean, we're just going to get better every day with him.
You know, we spend so much time talking football, and obviously when I see you a lot of the time, it's when you have your helmet on and your shoulder pads on. But take the fans a little bit outside of that realm. Who is Ryan Boyle away from when you take the football out of his hands, and just when you walk up and you see it around campus, just what your personality is like away from football?
Well, I'm usually not on campus because I'm on my master's program, sports management, and it's all online. But, you know, from day to day, hanging out with my dog Bane, and then having my beautiful girlfriend Emily here as well, and hanging out with her. But you know, just
one clap, and
yeah,
it's Tommy.
Thanks, Tommy. I appreciate that. You'd be the one. But no, I'm just a laid back guy, I like to say, and just enjoy life. You know, not take it for granted, and just appreciate the little things, and just give back to those who have given me so much.
Is there any really good other skill set that you have outside of football, or is football just it? You don't have a hidden trick or anything that you can do outside of the realm of it?
Shoot, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I guess putting me on the spot right now. I don't even know.
Don't play music or anything?
I tried to learn guitar for a little bit,
there you go.
Then, you know, since I can't play Thunderstruck, you know, I get really, really mad. But, you know, piano here and there. But, you know,
see, I would have asked Jonas that question, but I know Jonas doesn't really do much outside of football.
Oh, Jonas does a lot. You know, he does.
He just doesn't. He just doesn't like, I guess, the showboat from time to time.
No.
But finally, obviously, the spring game is Saturday. Where do you guys, as an offense, feel we need to make these couple steps here before we close spring ball for good on Saturday?
Oh, I mean, that's just, Coach Switz covered it today, and just talking about, we're there, but, you know, we're not all the way there. It's just the self-inflicting wounds that, and Coach Aaron, he talks about it every single day. You know, the mistakes that we're making don't take effort. You know, it's just those little things that if you master the mundane, and just knowing that you have your eyes here, this play is going to be 100%, and then that's 11 guys on all cylinders executing the right way. So, once we're able to, you know, hit that every single rep, every single quarter, and then the entire game, I don't think we can be stopped.
We've talked about just the excitement level for this season. Is there even a way you can even find words to put in? I don't want to put words in your mouth, but just how ready you guys are just to get this year started, and just to get going, to get the fall camp, and get August 31st here rather quickly and be able to kick it off against the Jayhawks.
Oh, we're pumped. You know, we're looking forward to that very first game, but we'd like to fast forward, but we know that, this last week of spring ball is going to be crucial. The summer's going to be crucial with getting conditioning, and then just working that overtime of just mastering little things. But, you can see in everybody's faces here, and the players, that we're really pumped, and I think it's going to be a special season.
I know I'm really excited. I can't wait to see you out on the football field on Saturday for sure. I know practice throughout this week as well. Ryan, appreciate the time, man. Thanks for stopping by.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Once again, that was senior quarterback Ryan Boyle. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we will close out the show with the head coach, Curt Mallory. You're listening to Indiana State Football here on GoSycamores.com as well as locally in Terre Haute on WIBQ 97.9. Welcome back to 7th and Elm here at the corner of Food and Fun as head coach Curt Mallory has rejoined me here as we are getting ready to wrap up the spring football show here in Terre Haute, Indiana. Coach, you know, we just talked with Ryan. We just talked with Jonas as well here on the show. I know there's only so much you can say about them. I know you've talked a lot about them already throughout all the videos we've done, all the interviews we've had together over the time, but I know those are two very important guys, not just to this team, but to your family, to this program, because you preach family all the time, and that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, you know, obviously those two represent our program in a first-class manner. We've got a lot of young men in the program just like them. Majority of them are like that, and that's why we're on our way to winning a championship.
You always talk about winning a championship, that was the expectation. I remember your first year, and I actually remember your first team meeting, and you brought that up in your team meeting with some of your own guys. And I even felt in that room at the time there may have been a few chuckles when you would say that. Now you bring that up, there are no chuckles whatsoever. Everybody is bought in. The importance of that as a head coach, to know that when you meet them, everybody is on the same page in terms of what you guys want to accomplish and where you want to go.
Well, I think we're all on the same page. I got a great coaching staff. I'm blessed to come to work every day with those guys, and they do a great job with these guys. And the message has never changed from day one. They echo the same message. They have the same belief as our players do. And they've done a great job in the classroom. They know they're here to earn a degree and then represent their family in this program in a first-class manner. And then if you do those two things, championships will come.
As you guys head into this last week here of spring football, it's still kind of hard to fathom that this is your last week of spring practice. It seems like it just got started not too long ago. What are some of the things for you as a staff that you're communicating with your group and saying, this is what we want to accomplish in our Tuesday practice tomorrow, and this is what we want to accomplish on Thursday before you ultimately get to the big dress rehearsal on Saturday?
Well, we've spread it out, and we did that purpose. We did that with a purpose, that we were going to go 3 times a week, and we were going to spread it out. We're going to come out on Tuesdays in full pads, and we were going to come out on Thursdays and have half-padded practices, and then on Saturdays we'd scrimmage. And that's been scheduled all through, and it's really helped. Didn't want to ever go back-to-back practices. We want to make sure we got good meeting time in between. And really take that time to teach. And, our coaches have done a great job teaching. Our players have done a great job learning. And we've gotten better and better each practice. We've got 3 more very, very important practices left. We'll have a full padded one tomorrow. We'll go back to half pads on Thursday, and then we'll kick it off at 1 o'clock on Saturday.
How difficult has it gotten? And maybe difficult isn't the right word, so excuse me for using it, but in determining how much you hit throughout a spring ball, how has that challenge really maybe become more of a challenge since you first really got into coaching?
Well, I think, we've done a good job of staying off the ground. We have certain tempos that we want to get done throughout spring. Saturdays are live periods where you're playing football and tackling the ground. We go on Tuesdays and we want to thud. We want to, you're going to be hitting, but you're staying up. We don't ever want to be on the ground. And then Thursday, obviously, we try to taper that off and not hit it quite as much. You're going to have your shoulder pads on, but that's really helped. We're going to have some injuries. We knew going into spring we were going to have some guys out, and you have them throughout spring. But we should be full speed. Pretty close to having everyone back by the time we get back ready to go this summer.
Once again, Luke Martin alongside head football coach at Indiana State, Curt Mallory. We are here live at 7th and Elm at the corner of Food and Fun here in Terre Haute, previewing the spring game this weekend. Let's touch up on the team. We talked to Ryan about the offense. We talked to Jonas with the defense. In your kind of overcompassing, let's start on the offensive side.
Sure.
How that offensive line, the strength there, really builds throughout your offense.
Well, absolutely. I talked about the 5 seniors. That's where it's going to start. We had great continuity last year with that group. They're going to be a year older. They've all been playing for the last 3 years. Played a lot of football, and we're gonna run behind them. And obviously we think we got a very, very, very good offensive line to lead us.
I feel a big part of that, though, is also the depth part. You know, there's a lot of guys throughout a week, whether it's a Sam Thomas who's working his way back. I know there's many other names that are thrown in there as well, that it's almost kind of like a little bit I equate it to the baseball team right now with head coach Mitch Hannes, where a guy like Dane Tofflin finally got inserted over the weekend, and it wasn't that he was doing anything wrong. It's just it's such a hard lineup to crack. Same thing. You got a lot of guys that are doing really good work behind maybe those main starters right now that, who knows, maybe when you get through fall camp, you don't know with all the extracurricular stuff that happened, they could find themselves really in that spot.
There's no doubt. You know, Joe Vasquez has played a lot of football for us this spring. Of course, with Isaiah Edwards out, he's been going with the starters. So, you know, he's going to play next year. Max Morgan Elliott will be getting him back. We knew going into it that he would be out because of his, we repaired his shoulder, but he's fine. He'll be back. You know, Alvin Clemens has played a lot of football for us. Fred Fabricius has been backing up, but we're going to need him. His role is going to increase. And then, you know, as we move over, we'll get Sam Thomas back. Of course, we missed Sam all last year, but having him back, you know, and those are the 5 guys right there that are backing up 5 guys that have played a lot of football. So their roles are going to increase.
When you look at what you had success running the football a year ago, of course, Coach Marcus Knight, you bring in that running back room. What's he going to bring to that position group, and what you hope those guys that make up that room right now can really take away from the coach that's leading them day in, day out?
Well, I've known Marcus for a long time. I didn't play with him. He was after me. But he's got high character, and I knew that that's what I was looking for. As I look for all our coaches, you know, and he brings that. He's a tremendous worker, has a lot of pride, and I knew that the players would gravitate to that. And he'd be a great mentor to them, great role model, and that's what you've seen. And he's got a great group of young men that he's working with.
I tweeted this out about 2 weeks ago, and I don't want to just rehash it here with you, but I think one of the guys who's really jumped off offensively in that room specifically has been Matt Sora, and the work he's done with Dave McManus in the weight room just to get bigger. But even throughout that room, you've been without Titus McCoy, who I know is going to be a big part of that position when you get into the fall. How do you feel, Matt? How do you feel Petey, who's been in and out as well throughout the spring, have been able to use this time to their benefit?
Well, you know, Matt Sora is a young man who played on the scout team last year. And if you ask our defensive coaches, all he did was give him a great look, you know, week in and week out. Obviously, they're big fans of him because he caused them problems throughout the week. But he's been the most consistent, you know, but all 3 of them have played a lot. You got Nick Sims, who transferred in from Toledo. He's done some really good things. Chris Childers, who's done a really a great job of improving. But those 3 have been the mainstay guys throughout spring, although we'll get Titus McCoy back and Peterson Curlegram. But the 3 I mentioned are the ones you've seen all spring.
Ryan kind of described it as a hockey shift or hockey subs when you see it of a new line coming in when you speak of that wide receiver group.
Yeah.
You know, Dante Hendricks just looks really good right now. Rontrez Morgan, his speed looks fast as ever. I think one that we didn't talk about a lot last year that we highlighted a bit too, Dejon Collins has had a really good spring for you.
Well, he has. You know, you mentioned Dante Hendricks. He's had a tremendous spring ball. We're really excited about him. You know, Rontrez Morgan's done some really good things. Dante Jones has done some really good things. But you mentioned Dakota Caton and Dejon Collins. Those guys have really doing some good things as well. But, you know, seeing Dejon out there, he's electric. Of course, he was, you know, he had a surgery on his knee in his senior year in high school. He was a little slow coming back from that. Kind of got behind as we got into the season. Tried to use him a little bit at the end, but, you know, he's fully recovered, and you can really see it out there.
As you switch defensively for you guys, of course, Jonas a big part there at that linebacker position. But up front, I know just like you say, it starts up front offensively, up front defensively. They'll get Anoke Moala back here very shortly. Just what you like about that group up front.
Well, you know, we didn't have Anoke all spring, and we knew that going in. But getting him back, it's going to be a huge shot in the arm. You know, having him back, we really feel good about our end position. You know, you got Caleb Brewer and Anoke right there. You got Cade Perrott, who's had a really good spring. We had a young man transfer in. Isaac Fotu's doing a great job. Chris Reed's been in there some. So we feel really good about that position. And then, of course, you mentioned the linebackers, starting with Jonas. And then Clayton Glasgow's done some really good things. Those are the two that have been really the main guys that you'll see in there in the middle. Kelvin Broom's come in and done a great job. He's really improved. And then you got two guys that play what we call star position. That's kind of a walked-out linebacker, kind of an outside linebacker, and Luke Parker and Matt Thompson.
Secondary is going to look a little bit different just because Rondell Green's been so consistent back there. Jamal Jones was another consistent piece. How that group on the back end, you added Michael Thomas, who switched over from wide receiver to the safety group. What you like about that group on that back end and why that could be a really good athletic group, probably the most athletic group, you may correct me if I'm wrong, that you probably had here in your 3 years.
No, I think you're exactly right. Mike Thomas coming over at safety has done a really good job. Really been excited about Ty Hambright and the way he's played. C.J. Rutherford, another young man that didn't play a whole lot last year. He's really done some good things in the spring. We knew going into it, one of our starting corners from a year ago, Caleb Newman, was out. So we're playing without him, but we didn't have Makai Ware. And Makai Ware missed all last year and played as a freshman. And having him back has really, really helped. We've got a group right there. You always hear the term long, and these guys got length. We certainly do. We feel like we're really athletic back there. And, I like to say, I like to agree with you, and I think this is probably the most athletic group that we've had back there since we've been here.
Well, I know we've touched up on your team as well before we kind of close and go through the final details of the spring game here on Saturday. I know you really enjoy, obviously, this opportunity to come here to 7th and Elm. I know Coach Lansing really enjoys coming here and having his show throughout the basketball season. But also right now I do want to get your thoughts on what Coach Hannes and the baseball team is doing right now. Another very deserving team that deserves a lot of recognition. They're off to the best start in school history. They're trying to continue to get into that postseason play for the first time since 2014. Coach Hannes, I know a guy that you've really gone to for advice early on in your time here at Indiana State, and just what a ride his group has been on, getting a big series win over the weekend against Evansville.
Yeah, that was great to see. We were following it, but what a great job. Coach Hannes does it the right way, and as all our coaches do. But really enjoy getting to know Coach Hannes. He's so supportive of the football program, and he's just doing an outstanding job. And they're well on their way. They're going to keep it on track here, and let's win a championship with those guys because they're fun to watch, man.
Another step in that direction for Sycamore baseball this weekend will be at home. So a lot of things to do here in Terre Haute starting Friday with a series against Southern Illinois. Again, if you're listening to us here tonight, remember you can come out to Memorial Stadium this Saturday. Kickoff will be 1 o'clock for the spring game. A special season ticket sale as well, $20.19. That's it. $20.19 will get you a season ticket, but that deal is only good if you show up in person. In person, not over the phone, not Twitter, not Facebook. You got to be in person at Memorial Stadium on Saturday to be able to get that season ticket package deal. Again, $20.19. The Buddy Walk that morning as well around 11 o'clock. Coach, really appreciate the time stopping by, spending an hour here with us here on WIBQ. And I know I'm excited for this upcoming football season, but I know you guys are as well.
Yeah, we can't wait. Still got a lot of work ahead of us, but really excited. Can't wait for it to get here.
Coach, appreciate the time, buddy. Have a great week.
Thanks, bud.
Once again, that was head coach Curt Mallory. Again, a big thanks to Tom Hellman and Mary Hellman as well for having us here tonight at 7th and Elm at the corner of food and fun. Again, the spring game will be this Saturday, 1 o'clock at Memorial Stadium. We hope to see you there on Saturday. That wraps it up here from 7th and Elm. For head coach Curt Mallory, for Ryan Boyle and Jonas Griffith, for everybody from Sycamore Football, saying so long here from 7th and Elm. We'll see you Saturday at Memorial Stadium.